Hello and welcome to Footsteps and Photos. My name's Craig and today I'm in Tipton in the Black Country.
I'm here to look at one of the most tragic events in Black Country history. The fateful night in the middle of the First World War when the German Zeppelins bombed Tipton. Today's walk starts in Union Street in front of this modern building which is now home to Ginger's Hair Salon and Sheer Elegance Hair and Beauty. The reason we're here is the blue circular plaque on the top left of the building. It reads, "On the night of 31st January 1916, Tipton was hit by a Zeppelin raid which claimed 14 lives. Most of the casualties occurred in Union Street." The building stands on the site of the Globe Inn, which was one of the buildings that suffered substantial damage in the raid. Before we get into the story of the Zeppelin raid, we'll just take a look at the building just over the road. Another blue plaque states that these premises were occupied from 1840 by the Union Flour Mill and from 1909 by the Tipton Conservative Club. Although now closed and in the process of redevelopment, the Conservative Club would have been opened on that night in 1916 and customers would have lived through the tragedy. In this picture from 1937, the Conservative Club, decorated to celebrate the coronation of King George VI, has hardly altered from its original build apart from the large window being removed. On the night of the 31st of January 1916, 9 Zeppelin airships from the Imperial German Navy set out from their bases on the northwest coast of Germany. Their target was Liverpool, but the frosty, foggy conditions meant 2 of the Zeppelins, designated L-19 and L-21, lost their way and ended up in the West Midlands. Zeppelin airships were massive machines, at almost 600 feet long and over 60 feet in diameter. That's as long as 2 football pitches, and they're still some of the largest combat aircraft ever to fly. Due to the poor weather conditions, Max Dietrich, the commander of L-21, he was hopelessly lost. When he saw the lights of Tipton with its canals, he mistook it for Liverpool and the River Mersey. He unleashed a series of high explosive and incendiary bombs on both Waterloo Street and Union Street in Tipton. This caused a considerable amount of damage and a number of casualties. Street, 2 houses were demolished and others were damaged, as well as setting alight the gas main. 14 people were killed in Tipton, including 3 generations of the same family. At the Tipton coroner's inquest, Thomas Morris told his heartbreaking story. He'd gone to the Tivoli cinema just around the corner in Owen Street. In 1920 that was renamed the Regent Picture House, before being demolished in 1963 for shops to be built. His wife Sarah Jane took 2 of their children, Nellie, aged 8, and Martin, aged 11, to visit her parents, William and Mary Greensill, at their home at number 8 Union Street. When the bombs fell, Thomas rushed back from the cinema only to find that his in-laws' house had been destroyed, and they, along with his wife and 2 children, lay dead in the rubble. These pictures show the aftermath of the bombings on Union Street. As well as the 5 members of Thomas Morris's family, a further 9 people were killed, and 27 were taken to the guest hospital with injuries. Here we can see the bomb damage along the canal towpath of the Tipton Green Locks branch canal. At the far right is the Union Street Bridge with the Globe Inn in the background, which has now been replaced by the hair and beauty salon I mentioned earlier. This picture is from 1957, but shows the same bridge with Tipton Conservative Club on the right hand side. The canal was filled in the 1960s, which is why Union Street looks so different today. From Tipton, the Zeppelin L-21 moved to Bradeley, dropping more high explosive bombs, killing a courting couple, William Fellows and Maud Fellows. Although not related, they were planning to get engaged and were walking along the canal towpath when a bomb exploded just in front of them. William was killed outright, and Maud was to die a few days later in hospital. After this, 14 more people were killed in Wednesbury, before Walsall was targeted, where more people were killed, including the Lady Mayoress, Mary Julia Slater. A bomb exploded in Bradford Place just as she was passing on the number 16 tram. She suffered severe wounds and died in hospital a few weeks later. The bombing over, Max Dietrich turned L-21 and headed home. Just after midnight, a second Zeppelin, L-19, came over Tipton, probably attracted by the fires caused by the L-21's attack. Several bombs were dropped along Park Lane, where we are now, causing serious damage to a number of buildings. One of those destroyed was the Bush Inn, where the licensee and his family had a narrow escape, but fortunately there were no further casualties. L-19 attacked Dudley, Wednesbury and Walsall, where it caused a lot of damage, but as far as we know, her bombs didn't kill anyone else. After the attacks, L-19 turned back across country towards the Channel and home. Unfortunately for the captain and his crew, the airship suffered engine trouble and was hit by anti-aircraft fire in Holland. With 3 of its 4 engines disabled, L-19 floated back over the North Sea, where it ditched in the water. The crew was seen by a British trawler, but the captain refused to pick up the stranded Germans and they perished at sea. This episode drew a great deal of condemnation of the actions of the trawler's captain. The story of the Black Country Zeppelin bombings came to an end on November the 28th, 1916, when L-21 was shot down near Lowestoft. There were no survivors, and only a broken propeller blade was found. The rest of Zeppelin L-21 sank to the bottom of the North Sea, where she remains today. In memory of the victims of the Zeppelin raid, Tipton Civic Society arranged memorials to be displayed in 3 separate locations. We've already seen the blue plaque in Union Street on the site of the Globe Inn, which was seriously damaged during the bombings. In addition, there's a Roll of Honour displayed in Tipton Library, along with the boards commemorating the soldiers who lost their lives in the World Wars. Finally, a lovely memorial was placed in Tipton Cemetery, just up the road from the bombings. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to see future videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.